Hello guys, welcome back. We are now on episode 3, I believe, and in this episode we're going to be going over unit placement, as in player units and all of the things that evolve around that, or revolve around that. So like the ammo crates, vehicles, and all of that sort of stuff. So we're just going to get straight into it. So I'm just going to open up the map, bring back my panels. And we're going to be going over to Lacquer, where the CSAT starting point is. And just open up this area. So by just having a look at it, looks like this area here is going to be a good place to put down the playable units. And we'll just go over them first. The way I do that is, again, if you've got the compositions folder installed properly, you come up to compositions, go to custom. And because we're playing as CSAT, we're going to be using the CSAT or OP4 framework, OPF. So if you select that, you'll see that there's just, a large amount of placeable units in this composition. So we're just going to throw it down quickly. All right, there we go. Now, just while it's all selected too, I'm just going to orientate it to probably the front, because I'll keep all this back area for boxes, all that sort of jazz. So just shift, click, and move. I'll bring these guys up. All right, there we go. Okay, so the first things I like to work on after I've placed the framework or the units is to delete the stuff I don't need. This just clutters up the lobby. It might give people sort of a false sense of what's going to be in the mission as well. So, as I stated before, this mission is going to be a very simple infantry-centric mission, just for showing you people how to do this. So I'm just going to delete the stuff I don't need. Just going to go over, obviously, the infantry first. So, in this section here, we have the flyboys, so helicopters and fixed wing. Here, we have all the crewmen for tanks, APCs, etc. Here is the basic infantry sections, and these two dudes down the bottom, which are sort of mandatory for any mission. They are the Zeus guys and the modules associated to them. And here, just a couple of specialty teams like a sniper team at spotter and a mortar team. So as I said, yeah, we're going to be deleting the stuff we don't need. So pretty much all the flyboys and all the crew, they need to go. We're not having a sniper or mortar team in this one. They can all go. But we will be keeping the Zeus guys. I'll just put them somewhere else for now, out of the way. And we're going to be keeping all the sections. Just quickly too, with the plat section, which is this top one here, we're going to be deleting just the units we don't need for the mission. So, for instance, if you just hover over, it should give you a basic name. We need the plat commander for all missions. We need plat sergeant, just because plat sergeant. This one in particular, we don't have any use for the FAC or forward observer. Instead of forward air controller, let's give it a name of forward asset controller, because he also controls tanks alongside with air. But for this particular mission, don't need him. Always need a medic, he stays in. Don't need an explosive specialist, he can go. Even though everybody wants a UAV, we don't need it for this mission, he can go. And we'll keep the platoon rifleman just for the sake of keeping him. Okay, so now we've got everything deleted up. The next thing you need to do with the infantry, and I'm only going to use one section as an example for this, so let's use the alpha section. I'm just going to grab these guys and move them out for a bit. So in some recent updates, we have done some changes to the frameworks, which allows you to sort of mix and match what sort of teams or fire teams you want in the section. Originally, for the first 4 and the second 4, we had it so that there would be a leader, his buddy, so either a marksman, rifleman, lat, breacher, whatever, and the last 2 in a team would be an AR team, so automatic rifleman and assistant. We've now changed it out so that you can have these assistant and AR teams swap out for particular buddy teams. So instead of a AR, you could have a MG team, let's say, or you could have a MAT team, so medium anti-tank. There's a few rules on this that I'll just go over quickly. So if you have one team that has swapped out from an AR to, let's say, an MG, make sure that the second team in the section, so it could be these two or these two, have to be an AR. It's just a rule that we've set down for balancing and to make sure that we're not having sort of over the top sections. So let's say this team here, we've swapped them to a MAT team for anti-tank. You must leave these two as AR. Another rule is if you do swap them to any sort of AT role in the team, make sure to change out the section's lat to some sort of rifleman. Otherwise, you know, so much AT, all of that. Anyway, we'll get a bit further into this now. Just went over some rules with it. They are pretty much prone to change, but as of this date, that's how it stands. So what we're going to look at is changing the names to the particular units we want them to be. So you don't have to do this for the section leader, don't have to do this for the team leader, but you have to do it for the three after the two leaders. So if you open this up, we're going to start with the first rifleman. As you'll see here, he is 1-1 Alpha, first rifleman. Let's say I want to change him to a, let's see, let's just have him as a grenadier. I hope I spelt that right. So just remember this once you've done it, because later on in the scripts and stuff, we're going to be changing this so that it fits with the naming convention down here in the scripts. So the first guy, I want him as a grenadier. Second guy, this is the gunner teams, remember, the pair that is usually an AR. I'm going to turn this first team into an MG. So let's just change that out for MG and his assistant also. MG. Press OK. He's sorted. Now, let's go to the second team. I know this guy's still a lat, but we will be changing that also. So I'll just click on him. Now he's the second rifleman, so the second rifleman for that team. Remember before we just changed the one to a grenadier. For this guy, let's say, I reckon marksman. So marksman. So he'll get, I can't remember what the CSAT one is, but anyway, I'll press OK. Now, back to the rule again. We changed these two to an MG team. So these two here have to be an AR team. So let's just open this up and I will select AR gunner and AR assistant. And there we go. So that's pretty much sorted. Did take a bit longer because I was explaining it, but once you get the hang of it, you just fly through doing these, and you'll have to do it for however many sections you have left in the platoon. But other than that, yeah, it is very simple. The difficult part comes later when we have to code it up in the script side of the framework. So anyway, so that's our platoon sorted out and our infantry. Our Zeus guys, they're fine. You don't have to do anything with them. I'll just sit them up next to the platoon to sort of state that they're done. Next thing we're going to work on is the MHQ and its respawn trigger. Now, this is obviously a Russian Tiger or Tiger or however you want to say it. It's just how I've got it set up in the framework. If you need to swap this out to be a bit more faction specific, so obviously we're going to be playing a CSAT, what you need to do is not delete this, replace it, and then just assign the trigger back to it. This particular vehicle in the framework between Blue 4 and Op 4 has specific properties built into it. So a larger cargo capacity for ACE. It also allows refueling, all of that. So don't just come up here, grab yourself, let's have a look here, cars, one of those, drop it down, resync this module to this instead and delete that. That's not what we want to do. What you need to do is double click on the GAS itself and change the vehicle type in object type list. Otherwise it loses all of its nifty little properties it has. So let's go up here. I'm going to find a modern CSAT vehicle for this one. So let's go in here. Cars. What the hell was their modern one called? I think it was a Caratel. Let's press OK. Alright, there we go. That's going to be our MHQ, and he will have still all the scripts and everything inside of him that makes him work. Okay, so that's our MHQ sorted. Next thing we need to look at, ammo boxes. Now there has been a change made to ammo boxes in the last update where you don't have to place down specific boxes and the amount per mission. What we do now, instead of restricting people to how many boxes are placed at the beginning, we restrict them to how much the MHQ can carry, and you spawn in what you want, and that's with this flag. So once all the scripts are added to the mission itself, we'll go through, test this, and show you how to work. But I'm going to put it over near where the MHQ is, just for ease of access, and so you guys can load it up into the cars. So in saying that, we don't really need any of the ammo boxes for this mission. So these ones here are the generic. These ones up here have specific things that I'll go over in a minute. So I'm just going to grab these ones at the bottom slider. It's the same for the Bluefall framework, just the boxes look a bit different. So I'll delete them. All right, let's go over these two. These are what I like to call the debug boxes. So one of them is a TFAR crate with TFAR radios for this specific side and faction, just in case radios stuff up in the sort of initialization of the mission. And this one over here is select loadout box. So you walk up to it, you can select your loadout, all of that sort of stuff. It's there just in case something breaks and people can go in and reselect their kit, or maybe select another one if there's something wrong with the scripts, just to get the mission going. What I like to do with these is just put them out of the way, so they're not annoying people, because for some reason the add action for these boxes are quite long, so they always pop up in your face. So what I like to do is just put them somewhere away. So I'm just going to chuck them in this shed for now. Make sure they're risen above the ground, which they are. They're snapped to. All right, and we're looking pretty good. Now, as I said before, this is going to be very much a motorized infantry mission, so we need to give these guys some vehicles to get to the objective. So in that case, I'm going to come down to CSAT OM. Let's go to trucks, and let's go for transport open. To place down vehicles empty, just hold down Alt before you place them, and it places them empty. A little bit of a thing I like to do, especially with trucks or vehicles, it also depends on the capacity of those particular vehicles, is make sure you've got at least one for each section. So in particular, a truck, if you had like a car that obviously can only fit 4, you'd have 2 per section, plus a little extra. So in this case, we have 4 sections and the MHQ. MHQ will carry the whole platoon team, but we need at least 4 trucks to get these guys into the AO. So I'm just going to place them down, do a bit of a copy and paste here. 3, 4, that's the 4 sections, and for the sake of anything going wrong and these guys needing another truck, I'll just place down a 5th. Now that's pretty much it with placement. Now the thing that I should have got you guys to do at the beginning of this tutorial, or after we've placed the markers, was actually to save the mission. I'll just go through saving the mission and also the correct formatting for saving. So I've already saved this, but I did it sort of off screen or off recording. So just for the sake of it, I'll show you guys how to do it. So let's go save as. All right. And we'll go to the top mission, which is this one. Okay, so it's already named. But when you do save missions, make sure that the binarize the scenario file is unticked, just in case you have to go in and fix the SQM file. I'm not going to go into that. You know, that'll be something that I might bring up later, but just make sure this is always unticked. Also, formatting, co-op, capital letters, underscore. Name of the mission is I ran to Aegeus. Make sure it's all connected together. No spaces, but for every new word, add a capital. Then underscore version 1 underscore 0. And then every time you need a new version of the mission, just update this. But this is original version, and we're all good. Press and save. Okay. All right, there we are. That's pretty much it for placement. We don't really need to go any further into it. As I said, this is a standard infantry mission. If you were going to have a mission with tanks and stuff, you'd do the same thing. It's always good, especially with armored vehicles or using any helos or planes, to have a backup like I've done with this truck. So let's say these guys were using a Su-25 Frogfoot. I'd put down one and then also a backup. They lose the backup, it's your own fucking fault. So you have to deal with it. Anyway, guys, hope you learnt something there. And I'll see you in episode 4.